Hello, my brothers and sisters. This is Disabled Perspectives. Welcome to the first episode of Disabled Perspectives. I'll be one of your hosts, Brian Jennings. And for this first episode, I kind of just wanted to talk about what Disabled Perspectives is going to be, my vision for it, a little bit about my story, and what I expect going forward. So, Disabled Perspectives is going to be a podcast all about the life of disabled people, from birth to now to people who got injured way later in their life. We'll even be talking to hopefully some doctors at some point about different disabilities. The entire point of this podcast, I think, is going to be getting rid of the stigma around disabilities. A lot of people have this fear of talking about disabilities. They don't know how to talk about it. They're scared to ask people. Disabled people may not want to talk about it. They don't feel like people care or that people will understand them. So hopefully this podcast leads people to ask more questions, to understand not only disabled people, but everybody around them better that has a different life. And that's my goal with this podcast, to enlighten, entertain, and bring people closer together, especially in a time where with social media we are closer on phones but not close when it comes to companionship and close when it comes to love. And I want to spread love through this podcast to everybody, and I want to show that everybody is capable of love and everybody deserves love even through disabilities. And I want to just create a loving community here with this podcast, and that's my goal. So first, let's dive into my disability and what I've kind of experienced in my life. I'll go deeper into my life in various episodes, but right now let's just kind of dive into it. So I was born in 2001, and I was born with Spina Bifida. And Spina Bifida is a neural tube defect. It's basically the neural tube along your spine doesn't form properly or close at all the way. And this causes those nerves in that spinal area to basically die, is the way I usually word it to people. And with that comes issues like walking or bowel and bladder control, things of that nature. And my entire life I've been in a wheelchair. I'm able to move my legs partially. I can, mainly from like my thigh areas, I have a lot of control there. As we go lower down my leg, I can't really feel in my calf, can't feel my feet at all. I can kind of feel my ankles. And so this disability has made me wheelchair bound. When I was younger, I tried to use crutches, but it usually hurt. I have hip dysplasia. I have, one leg is longer than the other. I have scoliosis. So I have a lot of different things going on with my body that cause different types of pains and issues that have been with me my entire life. As a kid, I never knew how to deal with these issues. No one teaches you this. No one teaches you how to live with a disability. You just kind of figure it out. So when I was younger, I never really felt like I belonged anywhere. You don't really ever see other people in wheelchairs, right? You don't, and no one ever talks about it. You don't see, a celebrity on TV really with a wheelchair or some type of disability. You don't really see people in schools that have disabilities, and if they do, they usually have mental disabilities, and we'll talk about some mental disabilities later in some of these episodes, obviously. But yeah, when I was a kid, I never really met anybody who was like me, so I always struggled. It always felt like I didn't belong, and that I would never belong. Especially elementary school and middle school. I remember just like always being depressed and always kind of being angry. I was, born this way. High school, I got a little bit better. I still struggled. High school was a really weird time for me because that's, when you start really figuring out kind of what you want to do with your life, and you kind of start figuring out a few things. Other issues were hard. Dating was hard. I didn't really ever want to date until probably, junior year, senior year. And that's a whole different issue because growing up with a disability like this, or growing up with any disability, I'm sure, you feel like you don't deserve love. You feel like an outcast because you don't know how to love yourself properly. And that was my biggest issue, is I didn't know how to love myself properly. And I'm still some days trying to figure it out, honestly. And like I said, so hopefully with this podcast, not only can I teach other people how to love themselves, but hopefully I can teach myself how to love myself better through this podcast. And yeah, so high school, I struggled a lot with depression and relationships, and I was always seen as like the funny kid, but that was because I just wanted to entertain people. I just wanted to make other people feel better about themselves, because deep down I was sad, and I thought if I could make other people laugh, hey, maybe I can make myself laugh and feel better, right? And so that's always been my goal. I didn't really figure out who I was until college. And I guess before I get into college, let me say, I was never one of those people that like got bullied during school. It was always a fear, but I don't ever really remember it happening. If anything, I struggled with a whole different issue. I struggled with the idea that people only were nice to me or only liked me because they felt bad for me, which is a whole weird, different issue to deal with, man. Because it's like no matter what you do, you're convincing yourself that people only like you because you're handicapped. So they can be as genuine as possible, and if you don't believe it, it doesn't matter. And that's what sucked for so many years, is not believing other people when they were being genuine. And it hurts to think about, but now I'm doing a lot better. Again, I think I learned most of my lessons in college. I picked a great major. I was a communication studies major, mainly because I want to do either sports broadcasting or voice acting, because I want to tell stories. And I want to tell the stories of different people. Everyone has a story on why they're the way they are, and everyone has a story on what makes them them. And I want to be able to tell those stories in different ways, especially athletes. I think it's very fascinating that athletes dedicate their lives to sports, especially handicapped or disabled athletes, I should say. They are some of the most impressive people I think you'll ever see. And I want to shed the light on those people as well. So in college, the first semester in college, it was right after COVID when I got to the actual university. I did community college for 2 years. It was pretty fun. It was, your standard stuff. I was good at it, but I didn't really care. Once I started getting into my major, I had the time of my life learning. I learned so much. I learned how to use cameras, how to properly set up equipment, how to record. I learned how to use my voice better. I learned how to tell better stories, and I'm forever thankful for that. And I learned with how to tell stories, how to tell effective stories. And I'm so happy that I'll be doing that. But through college, I found God. I will forever admit I've always struggled with religion. And again, it's because I was born handicapped. So forever I was always angry at the idea of a God, because why would you do this to me? And so the idea of a God always made me mad. If he's so good, why am I in a wheelchair? Why do these bad things happen? And I still don't know if I know that answer fully yet or not. And that's fine, because when I found religion, I found a sense of self-love. And I found love from other people, and I joined a great community, and I will forever have friends from this community that I love and cherish, and hopefully we'll be friends forever. Sometimes, I still have those bad thoughts, and that's human, that's normal, but those communities have taught me that just because of my disability doesn't mean I'm less, right? I'm still great. I am still a great person, and that's what matters. It's a struggle because every day I have to wake up and choose to be happy, right? I don't get the luxury of waking up and not thinking about it. Every single day I wake up and I have to get back in the chair, and I have to realize, hey, you can't stand up, and hey, there's something wrong with you every single day. You're not normal, right? But the great thing about that is I will always have a challenge that I can overcome every day, and it makes me appreciate life more. I will always have a challenge to overcome, and it makes me appreciate life more. But on the flip side, it is always tough having to do that. There are days where I just want to give up every single time. There are days where it's just too hard to get up, and I don't want to do it. And hopefully, with this podcast, like I said, I can talk about those things openly and not be scared anymore to share those thoughts with people. Every day is me having to choose myself, and it gives you a weird view of the world, because on one hand you learn how to love people for who they are. On the other hand, you feel jealous almost of people. You feel jealous because some of the things that people that normal people complain about, you're like, man, if you only knew what I had to go through, if you only knew the thoughts that are constantly here, man, worst thing that happened to you today was you hit your foot on something, and I'm sure it hurt, but come on, man, and stuff like that is tough. So it gives you a weird perspective, because on the other hand, I love people. I love talking to people, but also it's exhausting because there's a part of me that feels like I have to choose happiness for them so I can ignore my issues, and that's always tough. Also in college, at some point, I think I was around 19 or 20, I joined a wheelchair basketball team, and I think that has been one of the best choices in my life. It's brought me to a community of people who are like me, who I love, and it's shown me I can do the things that I want to do. I always loved basketball. I never thought I would play it. And then I finally joined a wheelchair basketball team, and I'm not good. I'll be the first to admit, I don't think I'm that good. But playing with a community and a team of people who are like you physically, especially when you didn't grow up seeing many people like that, is just so beautiful. There's something lovely about it, and I don't know if they'll ever know how much I love them. If they watch this podcast, they will. They better watch this podcast. But yeah, it's amazing, and I recommend that more people who are disabled should play sports. There was also a weird moment with that, though. When I first joined the wheelchair basketball team, it was like shell shock. Like, I don't even know how to describe, because you're so used to being the only one like you, that when you meet people who are also like you, it's kind of terrifying, because you're like, wait, you know this stuff too. You know how to do these things better than me. Like, I didn't know how to play wheelchair basketball. And I'm like, dude, I've been in a wheelchair my entire life. How do you gotta dribble the ball and move and like, huh? So, like, stuff like that was terrifying to me when I first did it. But now that I'm into it, I love it. I truly do love it. But overall, I will say my life has been up and down, and it will continue to be up and down, and I expect it, and I'm ready for it, and I'm challenged. And like I said, I won't be the only host on this podcast. There will be another host that'll be joining me in future episodes, and he'll tell his story. and we'll bring on some guests and they'll tell their story, and hopefully some doctors will be here as well. And it'll be a fun time. It'll be a fun time. It'll be an entertaining time. It'll be a lovely time. I hope to spread love and positivity through this podcast because everybody needs it. And I hope that you guys love this podcast as much as I will love this podcast and making it. And I hope you love watching it and listening to all these different perspectives. And like I said, the goal here is to learn about each other, to spread love, to spread positivity, and to open that dialogue of disabilities and open that dialogue of not being afraid to share your story and to share your life. And with that, I just want to say thank you for listening to this first episode. I know it's kind of been all over the place. Hey, that's fine. Just like my life, it's just like being disabled. It's all over the place, but you figure it out. So I just want to thank you guys again for listening. And this has been the first episode of Disabled Perspectives. Thank you.